Market performance today, your views? How's the market performed today, your views, Egie? All right, let's see if somebody can try to sort that out. Go ahead.
Yes, I think the markets improved today. The week ended on a more positive note than at the earlier parts of the week.
All right, let's talk about what's going on the part of the central bank, and what's come out of a conference in London is that the governor of the central bank says that as of July 1st, restrictions on those foreigners who own Nigerian securities will be lifted. They no longer have to comply with a one-year time frame.
Yes, I think that rule is already having an effect on the market. I mean, today we saw significant move in the yields on the government traded securities. The 5 years bond, for instance, the yield dropped 32 basis points in one single day. So obviously a lot of that money is already starting to find its way into the market, or people are taking positions in anticipation of that money coming in. Definitely it's going to push down yields on the government securities, and could possibly also have an impact on the interest rate, exchange rates. For the issuers who are coming to the market to issue new securities, it's perfect for them because now they have a lower benchmark from which to price their new issues.
Let's talk about auctions coming through from the Debt Management Office, reopening the May 2018 bond at the next auction. What impact is that going to have?
Yes, the May 2018 bond effectively will have 6 years and 11 months, roughly 7 years to maturity. What we have in the market right now is that limited liquidity in a lot of the maturities between the 5 and 20 year mean that you can't really get an accurate market-based benchmark for like 7 years. So right now, with this new issue coming up, we'll have a new relevant benchmark for 7 years. And more importantly, for a lot of the state governments who are coming out with 7-year bonds, it allows more accurate pricing of those bonds of a more relevant federal government instrument, which, even though it's 7 years, the bullet payment compared to most amortizing state bonds, but still is a more relevant benchmark from which they can price.
I mean, we're talking about government securities. We're also talking about foreigners who own government securities. I mean, obviously, this will help to boost the profile of the market, Egie. But I mean, going forward, will Nigerian securities be attractive because other factors at play internationally are working against emerging markets in many ways?
Well, I think, the securities are relatively attractive just from the point of view of absolute interest rates. If you look at LIBOR relative to Nigerian rates, the rates here are quite high. But of course, you have to temper that with the high inflation. May came out at 12.4%. So obviously, any portfolio traders who are bringing money in have to factor in how they hedge their currency risk. But I think overall, more liquidity to the market means better pricing and more takers for the instruments coming up. It'll be nice to see what the DMO does if it's very obvious that new money is coming in, whether the DMO will increase the size of their auctions, which have remained relatively constant. I think the next auction is going up slightly to about 80 billion, but it'll be nice to see if the DMO takes advantage of that new money by issuing more bonds.
Let's talk about what's going on within the energy side. The Nigerian electricity regulator announcing new tariffs, somewhere in the region of about 10 naira per kilowatt hour. That's also as of July. What impact is that going to have on the attractiveness of the industry? Because we do know there are a lot of reforms underway, and that there's a big bid to privatize as well.
Yes, I think people have been anticipating a rise in those tariffs for a while. The last tariff, I think, was set in 2008. At 8 naira 50 kobo. So clearly 10 naira is an improvement. Of course, you have to bear in mind that inflation and devaluation since 2008 might mean that this 10 naira is actually less in real terms than the 850 of before. And the gas pricing tariff has been increased, and there's a stepped increase in gas prices over the next few years. But having said that, it's a step in the right direction. As a potential investor coming into that space, you do know that you're getting a slightly better revenue base than you were before, and that the government clearly is committed to periodic upward review of the prices. So it's a positive for the privatization process.